Hello there, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. Tonight we drift into a quiet region of our solar system where motion is slow and silence feels complete. Far beyond the busy paths of planets and far from the warmth of Earth, countless small worlds move patiently through open space. These are asteroids, ancient pieces of stone and metal that have been travelling around the sun for billions of years without hurry and without rest. They carry the earliest memories of our solar system, preserved in stillness, untouched by weather, sound, or time as we experience it. As we begin, allow your body to settle wherever you are. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breath find a gentle and natural rhythm. There is nothing you need to hold on to right now, and nothing you need to solve. Imagine floating slowly through space, surrounded by darkness that feels calm rather than empty. Light arrives quietly from the distant sun. Shadows move so slowly they almost seem still. Everything around you exists in balance and patience. Asteroids do not rush. They do not glow or flare or call attention to themselves. They drift in long, steady paths, guided only by gravity, repeating the same gentle journeys again and again. Their surfaces are shaped by silence rather than force. Dust settles and stays where it falls. Craters remain unchanged for ages. Even time itself seems to move differently near them, stretching wide and thin. Tonight we will explore the most relaxing facts about asteroids, how they form, how they move, how they endure, and how their quiet presence reveals a softer side of space. If you enjoy these calm journeys into science and stillness, you're always welcome to subscribe and return whenever your mind needs rest. For now, let your thoughts slow. Let the darkness feel safe. Let the motion be gentle. Let us begin. Asteroids are among the oldest surviving objects in our solar system, formed from the same cloud of dust and gas that gave rise to the sun and planets. While planets grew, changed and evolved, asteroids remained mostly unchanged, quietly preserving the materials of the early solar system. Their surfaces hold a kind of frozen history, where every grain of dust and every shallow crater tells a story that began billions of years ago. Being near an asteroid is like standing beside time itself, feeling how slow and patient the universe can be. Most asteroids move along stable and predictable paths around the sun, repeating the same gentle journey again and again. These orbits rarely shift suddenly and often remain steady for millions of years. There is no urgency in their motion, no sharp turns or sudden accelerations. Gravity guides them calmly, allowing them to drift with quiet consistency. This predictable movement creates a sense of comfort, reminding us that not everything in space is chaotic or violent. The surfaces of asteroids are shaped almost entirely by silence. With no atmosphere, there is no wind to smooth them and no rain to reshape them. Change comes only through rare and gentle impacts that leave soft impressions rather than dramatic scars. Dust settles and remains exactly where it falls. Shadows linger in the same places for long periods. Everything feels paused, as if the asteroid exists in a moment that never fully moves forward. Many asteroids rotate very slowly, sometimes taking days or even weeks to complete a single turn. As they spin, sunlight glides across their surfaces at an unhurried pace, creating long transitions between brightness and darkness. There is no sudden sunrise and no quick nightfall. Light arrives gradually and leaves just as gently. This slow rhythm gives asteroids a calming presence, like a deep and steady breath taken by the solar system itself. Asteroids exist in complete silence. In the vacuum of space, no sound can travel, and nothing disturbs their quiet movement. There are no vibrations, no echoes, no background noise. This silence is not empty but full, wrapping around the asteroid and everything near it. It is the kind of silence that allows thoughts to slow naturally, where the mind begins to rest simply because nothing is asking for attention. Many asteroids are irregular in shape, gently curved and uneven, formed by slow accumulation rather than forceful carving. Their contours are softened by gravity pulling fragments together over long periods of time. There are no sharp edges shaped by erosion, only rounded surfaces that feel settled and calm. These shapes remind us that even solid stone can take gentle forms when given enough time. Some asteroids are made of loosely held collections of rocks and dust, known as rubble piles. These bodies are not rigid or tense. Each piece rests against the others, held together by gentle gravity rather than pressure. If disturbed, they shift softly rather than breaking apart. This quiet balance shows how stability can come from cooperation instead of strength, creating calm even within motion. Temperature changes on asteroids happen slowly and without drama. As they move closer to the Sun, warmth spreads gradually across their surfaces. As they drift farther away, cold returns just as gently. There is no sudden shock and no violent reaction. The stone simply adjusts over time, accepting each change without resistance. This patient response to the environment gives asteroids a peaceful endurance. Asteroids experience very weak gravity, making their environments feel light and effortless. If you could stand on one, movement would feel slow and gentle. A small push could lift you easily from the surface. Nothing feels heavy or pressing. This lightness creates an atmosphere of ease, where even motion feels restful and unstrained. Asteroids reflect sunlight softly rather than brightly. Their surfaces scatter light in muted tones, creating a calm glow instead of sharp brilliance. Seen from a distance, they appear subtle and understated, never demanding attention. This gentle interaction with light gives asteroids a soothing visual presence, like quiet companions drifting through darkness. Asteroids travel through regions of space where distances are vast and encounters are rare. Most of the time, they move alone, surrounded by open darkness that stretches endlessly in every direction. This spacious environment creates a feeling of deep calm, where nothing presses inward and nothing interrupts the journey. The asteroid simply continues forward, unbothered, accompanied only by faint sunlight and the quiet pull of gravity. Some asteroids belong to families, groups of fragments that once formed a single larger body. Over immense stretches of time, these pieces drifted apart, yet they still follow similar paths around the Sun. Their shared movement feels like a quiet memory, preserved not through closeness, but through direction. Even as they spread across space, they remain connected by origin, moving together without needing to touch. The surfaces of many asteroids are covered in fine dust created by countless tiny impacts. This dust settles gently and remains undisturbed for ages. Without wind or water to move it, the surface becomes soft and uniform. Even the smallest motion would leave a mark that lasts for millions of years. This stillness gives asteroids a fragile calm where everything feels settled and undisturbed. Asteroids do not experience seasons. There is no cycle of growth or decay, no rhythm of renewal or loss. Light and darkness alternate only through slow rotation and orbit. This absence of seasonal change creates a timeless environment where nothing feels temporary. The asteroid remains the same, moment after moment, year after year, allowing time to stretch quietly without urgency. Light behaves differently near an asteroid. With no atmosphere to scatter it, sunlight arrives clean and direct, casting long shadows that barely move. These shadows remain fixed for extended periods, creating a sense of visual stillness. When darkness arrives, it does so completely, wrapping the asteroid in a calm and total night that feels deep and restful. Many asteroids tumble gently rather than spinning smoothly. This slow, irregular motion causes subtle changes in orientation over long periods. The movement feels organic and unforced, like a leaf drifting in still water. There is no perfect symmetry, only natural motion shaped by time and gravity. Watching this slow tumbling encourages the mind to release control and simply observe. Asteroids contain simple materials that form the foundation of planets and life. Iron, Nickel, carbon-rich compounds, and silicates exist in their most basic forms. These elements remain untouched by biology or weather, resting in a state of purity. This simplicity adds to the calming nature of asteroids, grounding them in the quiet beginnings of the solar system. Inside an asteroid, everything rests. There are no internal tremors, no shifting layers, no flowing material. The interior remains silent and still, reinforcing the sense of deep rest that surrounds these bodies. This internal calm extends outward, giving asteroids a presence that feels complete and untroubled. Asteroids respond to gravity with patience. When influenced by a planet or another body, their paths adjust slowly rather than abruptly. There are no sharp changes or sudden reactions. The movement unfolds over long periods, allowing the asteroid to adapt gently. This slow response creates harmony within motion, where change happens without disruption. Asteroids do not seek attention. They do not shine brightly or announce themselves. They exist quietly, moving through space without display. Their calm presence reminds us that importance does not require noise, and endurance does not require force. In their silence and persistence, asteroids offer a lesson in peaceful existence. Asteroids move through space with a kind of quiet independence that feels deeply calming. Once set into motion, they do not need fuel, guidance, or correction. Gravity alone carries them forward along paths that were shaped long before humans existed. These paths repeat patiently, looping around the sun with no awareness of time passing. The asteroid does not measure its journey in days or years. It simply moves, steady and consistent, allowing motion to become something restful rather than demanding. Many asteroids have surfaces that have never known disturbance beyond the faint touch of sunlight. Without wind to stir dust or rain to erode stone, the smallest details remain preserved. A shallow depression stays exactly as it formed. A layer of fine grains remains evenly spread. Nothing is rushed away. This preservation creates an environment where stillness is not temporary, but permanent. The surface feels settled, as though it has reached a state of complete rest. The darkness surrounding asteroids is not empty in a frightening way. It feels spacious and gentle, allowing the mind to expand rather than contract. There is no clutter, no visual noise, no competing movement, just slow drifting and distant light. This openness allows thoughts to stretch out and soften, much like lying beneath a wide night sky on Earth. The asteroid becomes a quiet anchor within that vastness. Asteroids interact with sunlight in a way that feels understated and calm. Light arrives from a single direction and slowly travels across the surface as the asteroid turns. There is no scattering, no glow from clouds, no shimmer from atmosphere, just a quiet exchange between stone and light. The brightness never overwhelms, it simply rests on the surface for a time, then moves on. Some asteroids have remained on nearly the same path since the birth of the solar system. Their journeys have not been interrupted by collisions or dramatic encounters. For billions of years they have followed the same quiet loops around the sun. This uninterrupted movement creates a feeling of trust and stability. Nothing sudden, nothing unexpected, just continuation. Asteroids do not experience pressure in the way planets do. Their gravity is gentle, their interiors relaxed. Nothing is compressed or strained. This lack of pressure allows the entire body to exist in a state of balance. Each piece rests comfortably within the whole. Even the interior feels calm, as though the stone itself is resting. When an asteroid rotates, it does so without resistance. There is no air to slow it, no friction to wear it down. The motion remains smooth and effortless. This kind of movement feels peaceful to imagine, a slow turning that never tires, a rotation that does not demand energy or attention, just quiet continuity. Asteroids often travel through regions where nothing changes for immense stretches of time. No new objects appear. No sudden light interrupts the darkness. This constancy creates a mental environment where anticipation fades away. There is nothing to wait for and nothing to prepare for. only presence. The materials within asteroids are arranged simply, without layers of complexity. Stone rests beside metal. Dust fills the spaces between. Everything is exactly where gravity placed it long ago. This simplicity gives asteroids a grounded feeling. Nothing excessive, nothing unnecessary, just matter at rest. Asteroids exist without purpose or expectation. They're not meant to become planets. They're not meant to collide or transform. They're complete as they are. This absence of expectation creates a deep sense of peace. Nothing needs to happen next. Nothing needs to change. Asteroids experience motion without urgency. They do not accelerate suddenly or change direction quickly. Their movement unfolds gradually, guided by gravity in a way that feels inevitable and calm. Even when influenced by nearby planets, the adjustment happens slowly, over long spans of time. This gentle responsiveness allows asteroids to remain balanced and composed, showing that change does not always need to be dramatic to be meaningful. The space surrounding asteroids feels remarkably uncluttered. There are no clouds, no weather systems, no shifting skies, just open darkness with distant points of light. This simplicity creates a mental quiet that mirrors deep rest. The asteroid moves through an environment that offers nothing to distract or demand attention. It simply exists within space, surrounded by stillness. Asteroids carry scars that do not heal because they do not need to. Craters and surface marks remain exactly as they formed, untouched by erosion or decay. These features do not represent damage but memory. Each mark tells a story of a gentle encounter long past. Over time, these stories lay quietly without ever being erased, creating a surface that feels reflective rather than worn. Light on an asteroid arrives without softness but settles gently nonetheless. Without atmosphere, sunlight touches the stone directly, warming it slowly. When the light fades, the cooling happens just as gradually. This steady exchange between light and darkness creates a rhythm that feels soothing and predictable. There are no surprises, only transitions that unfold with patience. Asteroids are not pulled by tides or shaped by oceans. They exist free from the forces that constantly reshape planets. This freedom allows them to remain stable and unchanged. Their surfaces do not shift or flow. Everything stays where it belongs. This consistency creates a sense of trust, as though the asteroid will always remain exactly as it is. Many asteroids follow paths that keep them far from dramatic encounters. Their orbits avoid regions of congestion, allowing them to travel peacefully for immense periods of time. This avoidance is not intentional, yet it results in a calm existence. They move through space without interruption, protected by distance and time. Asteroids hold warmth briefly and release it slowly. Heat does not linger or build, it passes through gently. This subtle thermal behavior creates a sense of moderation. Nothing extreme, nothing overwhelming. Just a steady interaction between stone and sunlight that feels balanced and calm. The interior of an asteroid is quiet and unmoving. There are no internal processes pushing outward, no heat rising, no pressure building. Everything inside remains settled. This internal stillness contributes to the asteroid's peaceful presence. It feels complete and at rest, from surface to core. Asteroids do not require maintenance or renewal. They do not need cycles of repair or regeneration. Their endurance comes from simplicity rather than complexity. This self-sufficiency gives them a calm confidence. They persist without effort, existing comfortably within their natural state. Asteroids remind us that stillness can coexist with motion. They travel vast distances without disturbance. They move without striving. Their existence shows that it is possible to journey without urgency and to continue without tension. In their quiet persistence, asteroids offer a deeply calming example of balance within the universe. Asteroids exist in a state where nothing competes for attention. There is no sky changing colour, no clouds forming, no sounds arriving from any direction. The environment remains consistent and quiet, allowing the mind to rest without needing to track movement or anticipate change. This absence of sensory demand makes asteroids feel deeply restful, as though they inhabit a corner of the universe designed for stillness. The gravity of an asteroid is so gentle that even large rocks rest lightly against one another. Nothing presses down with force. Everything feels balanced and unstrained. This delicate equilibrium creates a sense of ease, where weight becomes almost irrelevant. The asteroid holds itself together without tension, relying on calm attraction rather than pressure. Asteroids are shaped by patience rather than erosion. Their contours soften over immense spans of time through tiny impacts and slow rearrangement rather than harsh processes. Edges round gently, surfaces settle. The change is so gradual that it feels more like rest than transformation. This slow shaping gives asteroids a quiet elegance formed without hurry. The sunlight that reaches an asteroid arrives after travelling millions of kilometres through empty space. By the time it touches the surface, it feels distant and calm. The light carries no urgency. It warms gently and leaves without resistance. This long journey of light adds to the feeling that everything near an asteroid unfolds slowly and deliberately. Asteroids do not experience internal conflict. There are no opposing forces pushing against each other, no cycles of build-up and release. Everything remains in harmony, guided by simple physical laws. This lack of internal struggle creates a presence that feels calm and resolved, as though the asteroid has already found its balance. Some asteroids rotate so slowly that the same face can remain illuminated or dark for extremely long periods. This extended stillness allows light and shadow to linger, creating moments that feel suspended in time. There is no rush to move on. Each phase remains long enough to feel complete. Asteroids carry no atmosphere, yet they feel full rather than empty. The absence of air removes turbulence and noise, leaving behind a pure sense of space. This clarity allows the asteroid to exist without interference. Nothing surrounds it except openness, which feels calming rather than lonely. The surfaces of asteroids record events without erasing them. Each small impact leaves a mark that remains for ages. Over time, these marks accumulate quietly, telling stories without speaking. The surface becomes a record of patience rather than chaos, showing how time can pass without disruption. Asteroids continue their journeys regardless of observation. They do not change when studied or noticed. They are unaffected by attention. This independence creates a comforting sense of permanence. They exist whether or not anyone is watching, moving calmly through space on their own terms. Asteroids demonstrate that existence does not require complexity. They are simple bodies, made of familiar materials, moving in predictable ways. Yet their simplicity is not empty. It is complete. In their quiet motion and steady presence, asteroids show how calm can emerge naturally from balance and time. Asteroids exist in a state where nothing ages in the way we understand aging. There is no rust, no decay, no softening of edges through weather. Time passes, but it leaves almost no trace. An asteroid that has drifted quietly for billions of years feels nearly identical to the one that formed near the birth of the solar system. This resistance to change gives asteroids a timeless presence, as though they exist outside the normal flow of beginnings and endings, resting in an extended moment that never quite moves forward. Many asteroids travel through regions where sunlight grows faint and distant, yet even in these darker places, they continue calmly along their paths. The reduced light does not alter their motion or behaviour. They adapt naturally to the quiet dimness, reflecting only what little light reaches them. This ability to exist comfortably without brightness adds to their calming nature, showing that presence does not depend on visibility or attention. Asteroids do not experience day and night in the familiar sense. Instead, light and darkness move slowly across their surfaces depending on rotation and orbit. These transitions are extended and gentle, creating long periods of consistent conditions. The absence of rapid change allows the environment to feel settled and predictable, offering a sense of deep continuity that the mind finds naturally soothing. The space around asteroids is so free of disturbance that even the smallest movement can feel meaningful. A tiny shift in position happens without resistance and continues smoothly. There is no drag to slow it down, no friction to interrupt it. This effortless motion creates a feeling of ease, where movement itself feels restful rather than demanding. The asteroid simply glides unburdened. Asteroids are shaped by gravity in its most delicate form. The force holding them together is gentle, just enough to keep their structure intact without compressing it tightly. This light gravitational embrace allows the asteroid to remain stable while still feeling relaxed. Nothing is forced into place. Everything rests where it naturally belongs, creating harmony without tension. Some asteroids have remained untouched by collisions large enough to alter their structure for immense stretches of time. They carry surfaces that are almost pristine, marked only by tiny impacts that add texture rather than damage. These surfaces feel quiet and complete, like untouched landscapes frozen in calm. The absence of major disruption contributes to the sense that these bodies have known long peace. Asteroids drift through space without producing trails, wakes, or signs of passage. Once they move on, nothing remains behind to show they were there. This gentle presence leaves space unchanged, reinforcing the idea that movement does not always need to leave marks. Their passage is subtle, quiet, and temporary, like a thought drifting through the mind without disturbance. The internal structure of many asteroids is uneven yet balanced. Some areas are dense, others porous, yet the whole remains stable. This natural variation does not create conflict. Instead, it contributes to resilience. The asteroid accommodates difference without strain, holding everything together calmly. This quiet balance feels deeply reassuring, suggesting that harmony does not require uniformity. Asteroids respond to external forces slowly enough that change feels almost invisible. When influenced by gravity from a nearby planet, the effect unfolds over years or centuries. This gradual adjustment allows the asteroid to remain composed. Nothing is sudden. Nothing feels disruptive. Change arrives gently and leaves gently, preserving calm throughout the process. Asteroids remind us that existence does not need an endpoint to be meaningful. They have no destination beyond their orbit, no final role they must fulfill. They simply continue. This ongoing presence without expectation creates a profound sense of peace. In their steady drift, asteroids show that being is enough, and that rest can exist within endless motion. Asteroids move through space without any awareness of direction or destination, yet their paths remain beautifully ordered. They are guided entirely by gravity, a force that works quietly and invisibly, never pulling sharply, never demanding effort. This invisible guidance allows asteroids to travel vast distances while remaining calm and composed. Their movement feels less like travel and more like drifting, as though space itself is carrying them gently forward without resistance. Many asteroids have surfaces that have not changed noticeably since the earliest days of the solar system. The stones resting there today may have rested in the same positions for hundreds of millions of years. This stillness gives their surfaces a feeling of completion, as though they have already reached their final form. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be removed. Everything simply remains. Asteroids do not experience internal warmth rising from a core the way planets do. Their interiors stay cool and quiet, with no flowing material or hidden activity. This absence of inner motion creates a deep internal calm that extends outward. The asteroid feels settled from the inside out, as though nothing within it is waiting to happen. The lack of atmosphere around asteroids allows light to behave in its purest form. Sunlight touches the surface directly, and leaves without scattering. This clarity creates sharp yet peaceful contrasts between light and shadow that remain unchanged for long periods. The simplicity of this interaction makes the environment feel clean and undisturbed, like a place untouched by complexity. Asteroids exist without cycles of renewal or destruction. They do not grow, decay, or regenerate. They simply persist. This steady existence offers a rare form of calm where nothing must be repaired and nothing must be replaced. The asteroid remains sufficient exactly as it is, moment after moment. Some asteroids spin so slowly that it can take months for sunlight to fully travel across their surface. During this time, the illuminated regions remain warm and still, while shadowed areas stay dark and cool. These extended phases feel unbroken and complete, creating an environment where change happens gently enough to feel almost invisible. Asteroids travel without interacting with their surroundings. They do not disturb space as they move through it. There are no ripples, no trails, no signs of motion left behind. Once an asteroid passes through a region, space remains exactly as it was. This non-intrusive movement reinforces a sense of quiet respect between the object and its environment. The materials that form asteroids are arranged naturally rather than intentionally. There is no design, no pattern imposed from outside. Gravity simply brings pieces together and allows them to settle. This organic arrangement creates a structure that feels effortless and balanced. Nothing is forced into place. Everything rests where it naturally belongs. Asteroids continue their journeys regardless of timescales we understand. Whether millions or billions of years pass, their motion remains steady. They do not hurry to complete an orbit. They do not slow down from exhaustion. Their persistence feels gentle rather than determined, creating a sense of endurance without strain. Asteroids embody the idea that calm does not require stillness. They're always moving, yet they feel deeply restful. Their motion is slow, predictable, and free of conflict. In this way, asteroids show that it is possible to move through existence peacefully, without urgency, without resistance, and without noise. Asteroids experience existence without interruption. There are no sudden events that force them to react, no signals demanding response, and no environments that require adaptation. They continue along their paths without urgency, unaffected by attention or neglect. This uninterrupted flow creates a sense of deep continuity, where nothing breaks the rhythm of motion. It is a reminder that peace can exist when nothing insists on being noticed. The distance between asteroids and other objects often stretches so wide that encounters feel almost impossible. Years pass without any nearby movement. Light remains constant. Darkness remains complete. This isolation is not lonely. It is spacious. It allows the asteroid to exist without comparison, without competition, without pressure. In this vast separation, calm becomes the natural state. Asteroids do not respond emotionally to change. When their paths slowly shift under gravitational influence, they do not resist. When light fades or returns, they do not react. Everything happens without tension. This lack of reaction creates an environment where motion feels neutral and safe. Nothing is perceived as threat or opportunity. Everything simply unfolds. The silence around asteroids is layered. It is not just the absence of sound, but the absence of vibration, disturbance, and expectation. Nothing approaches suddenly. Nothing departs abruptly. This layered quiet allows the mind to sink deeper into stillness, where even the concept of listening fades away. Asteroids hold their shape through balance rather than strength. Their form is maintained because forces cancel gently rather than clash. Gravity pulls inward while momentum carries outward, creating equilibrium. This quiet balance shows how stability can arise from cooperation rather than force, allowing the object to rest while still moving. Asteroids exist without surface renewal. There are no cycles of erosion to remove old features and replace them with new ones. What exists remains. This permanence creates a feeling of trust, as though nothing will suddenly disappear. The surface tells one continuous story, uninterrupted by forgetting. The temperature extremes asteroids experience do not cause stress. Stone expands and contracts slowly enough that nothing fractures or breaks. The material adjusts patiently. This calm response to extremes reinforces the idea that endurance does not require struggle, only time. Asteroids do not experience direction as forward or backward. Motion is simply motion. Their paths curve gently without preference or goal. This absence of directional meaning removes urgency. There is nowhere to arrive and nothing to leave behind. The journey itself is the state of being. Asteroids exist outside biological time. They do not age in stages. They do not pass through life cycles. They do not anticipate change. This timelessness gives them a serene presence, as though they exist in a long pause between moments that never come. Asteroids demonstrate that calm can persist indefinitely. Their existence is proof that rest does not need an ending. They move quietly through space, unchanged, unbothered, and unhurried, showing that peace is not something that must be reached, but something that can simply be allowed. Asteroids exist without memory or anticipation, yet their presence feels deeply reassuring. They do not look back on where they have been, and they do not prepare for where they are going. Each moment of their movement exists fully on its own, complete and unburdened. This timeless presence creates a gentle lesson for the mind, showing how rest becomes easier when attention settles into the present rather than drifting toward past or future. The surfaces of asteroids absorb the quiet of space rather than reflecting it away. Light touches them briefly, warmth arrives slowly, and then everything settles again into stillness. There is no lingering glow or dramatic shift. The stone accepts each moment and then releases it. This steady acceptance creates a rhythm that feels deeply calming, like a breath that never becomes shallow or rushed. Asteroids drift through space without leaving traces of passage. They do not disturb their surroundings or mark their journey in any visible way. Once they move on, the darkness remains unchanged. This gentle coexistence with space suggests a form of movement that does not demand recognition. It is presence without imprint, motion without disruption. Asteroids do not experience pressure to become something else. They are not incomplete planets or failed worlds. They exist exactly as they are meant to, whole in their simplicity. This quiet completeness gives them a calming dignity. Nothing about them feels unfinished or lacking. They are reminders that existence does not need transformation to be meaningful. The gravity that shapes asteroids is so subtle that even time seems to move more slowly near them. Motion feels stretched and softened. Changes happen gradually enough that they barely register. This slowing effect invites the mind to relax its grip on urgency, allowing thoughts to unfold without tension or expectation. Asteroids carry no internal clocks. They do not count rotations or measure distance. Their movement is not divided into segments or milestones. It flows continuously, uninterrupted by awareness. This uninterrupted flow creates a sense of ease, where nothing marks progress or demands attention. The journey simply continues. The edges of asteroids are often rounded and softened, shaped by time rather than force. Even where fractures exist, they settle into place without sharpness. This softness in form gives asteroids a gentle appearance, despite their rocky nature. They feel less like rigid objects and more like resting forms shaped by patience. Asteroids move through environments where nothing competes for space. There are no crowded paths or overlapping motions. Each object follows its own quiet route. This separation creates clarity and calm, allowing the asteroid to exist without interference. The space around it feels open and breathable, even in complete darkness. Asteroids remain unaffected by observation. Whether studied, photographed, or completely unnoticed, they continue their motion unchanged. This independence from attention gives them a peaceful autonomy. They exist for themselves, not for response or recognition, reinforcing the idea that calm does not depend on being seen. Asteroids show how stability can exist without rigidity. They shift gently when influenced, adapt slowly to new forces, and settle again into balance. This flexible stability creates resilience without tension. They endure not by resisting change, but by allowing it to pass through them calmly. Asteroids exist in a state where nothing needs to be adjusted or corrected. Their paths do not require fine-tuning and their forms do not demand improvement. Gravity has already placed them where they belong, and they remain there calmly. This absence of correction creates a feeling of quiet acceptance, as if the universe itself is content to let them be exactly as they are. The motion of an asteroid feels more like floating than travelling. There is no sensation of effort or acceleration. The body simply continues along its curve through space, carried gently by forces that never hurry. This floating quality makes the idea of movement feel light and restful, as though drifting itself were a form of sleep. Asteroids do not experience interruption. There are no sudden alarms, no unexpected signals, no changes that require immediate response. Everything unfolds gradually enough that reaction becomes unnecessary. This uninterrupted flow creates an environment where the mind can let go of vigilance and settle into ease. The emptiness around asteroids is not cold or harsh. It feels spacious and quiet, allowing each object to exist without pressure. Nothing presses in from any direction. Nothing crowds the path. This wide openness gives asteroids a sense of breathing room, where existence feels gentle and unconfined. Asteroids maintain balance without symmetry. Many are uneven and irregular, yet they remain stable. This natural imbalance does not create instability. Instead, it creates a unique harmony where every part finds its place. This quiet order shows that calm does not require perfection, only balance. Asteroids experience light without interpretation. When sunlight arrives, it is simply light. When darkness returns, it is simply darkness. There is no contrast to react to, no meaning attached to either state. This neutrality allows the environment to feel emotionally quiet, where nothing feels urgent or charged. Asteroids move through time without milestones. There are no anniversaries of motion, no markers of progress. Orbits repeat without acknowledgement. This absence of milestones removes pressure from existence. Nothing needs to be achieved. Nothing needs to be completed. The journey itself is enough. Asteroids are free from internal cycles. There is no build-up and release, no tension and relaxation. Everything remains steady. This consistency creates a soothing predictability that allows the mind to rest, knowing nothing sudden will occur. Asteroids remain calm even when influenced by larger bodies. When gravity pulls gently, they respond slowly. There is no resistance and no struggle. The adjustment happens quietly, over long periods, preserving balance. This gentle responsiveness creates a sense of trust in change. Asteroids demonstrate that rest does not require stillness. They move endlessly, yet they never feel busy. Their motion is calm, their presence steady, their existence unstrained. In this way, asteroids show that it is possible to move through life peacefully, without urgency, without noise, and without effort. Asteroids exist without urgency because nothing in their environment demands speed. There is no atmosphere to push against them, no friction to overcome, and no deadline to meet. Their motion unfolds at the pace gravity allows, which is always patient and steady. This absence of urgency creates a sense of safety, where movement feels natural rather than forced, and time feels wide enough to rest within. Asteroids do not experience erosion as loss. When tiny impacts reshape their surface, the change happens so gradually that it feels more like settling than damage. Each grain of dust finds a place to rest and stays there. Over time, the surface becomes quieter rather than more chaotic, as if the asteroid is slowly arranging itself into calm. Asteroids move through darkness that is consistent and predictable. There are no sudden shadows or flashes of light. Darkness arrives softly and remains until light returns just as gently. This predictability allows the mind to relax fully, knowing there will be no surprises. The environment feels steady and trustworthy. Asteroids carry warmth briefly and then release it without resistance. Heat does not cling or accumulate. It flows through the stone and fades away. This gentle exchange mirrors slow breathing, where nothing is held too tightly and nothing is pushed away too quickly. The asteroid accepts each change and lets it pass. Asteroids exist without boundaries imposed by environment. There are no horizons, no skies, no edges to mark where they belong. Space surrounds them completely and equally. This boundless setting creates a feeling of openness that invites the mind to expand rather than focus narrowly, encouraging relaxation through spaciousness. Asteroids do not compete for position or resources. Each follows its own quiet path without interference. There is no crowding, no overlap that creates tension. This separation allows each object to exist comfortably, showing how calm emerges naturally when there is room to move freely. Asteroids remain unchanged by attention. Whether they are studied closely or completely ignored, their behavior remains the same. They do not react to observation or anticipation. This neutrality creates a soothing independence, reminding us that peace does not depend on recognition or response. Asteroids exist without complexity and purpose. They are not driven by growth, survival, or adaptation. Their simplicity removes pressure. Nothing must be accomplished, nothing must evolve. This simplicity creates a deep calm that feels grounding and reassuring. Asteroids experience motion without destination. They do not travel toward an endpoint. Their paths curve endlessly without conclusion. This endless movement without arrival creates a sense of infinite rest, where the journey itself becomes the state of being. Asteroids show that balance can be gentle. They're held together by forces that do not strain or compress. Everything rests in place comfortably. This gentle balance creates stability without tension, offering a quiet reminder that calm does not require effort. Asteroids exist without awareness of scale. They do not know whether they are small or large, ancient or young. They simply exist as they are, without comparison. This absence of scale removes judgment from existence itself. Nothing is too little or too much. Everything is enough. This quiet neutrality creates a deeply calming presence that invites the mind to release comparison and expectation. Asteroids move through space without resisting emptiness. The vast distances around them do not cause strain or isolation. Instead, the openness feels natural and supportive, allowing each asteroid to drift comfortably within it. This ease with emptiness teaches a quiet lesson about space itself, showing that openness can feel safe rather than lonely. Asteroids do not experience fatigue. Their motion does not wear them down or require recovery. They continue their slow journeys endlessly without effort or exhaustion. This tireless calm gives their movement a meditative quality, as if motion itself were restful rather than demanding. Asteroids experience gravity as a gentle presence rather than a force. It guides rather than pulls. It suggests direction rather than imposes it. This subtle influence allows movement to feel cooperative rather than compelled. The asteroid follows gravity naturally, creating harmony rather than resistance. Asteroids remain untouched by cycles of activity and rest. There is no moment when they must pause and no moment when they must resume. Movement and stillness exist together continuously. This seamless blending removes the need for transition, allowing the environment to feel smooth and uninterrupted. Asteroids do not experience contrast in the way planets do. There are no dramatic changes between conditions. Light shifts slowly. Temperature adjusts gently. Everything transitions without sharp edges. This softness in experience creates an atmosphere where the mind can relax fully, knowing nothing will change suddenly. Asteroids are unaffected by passing time in a personal sense. They do not mark anniversaries or milestones. Time flows around them without acknowledgement. This timeless existence removes pressure from the present moment, allowing it to stretch and settle naturally. Asteroids do not store tension. Their structures remain relaxed, their materials settled. There is no build-up waiting to release. Everything rests comfortably in place. This absence of stored tension gives them a quiet steadiness that feels deeply reassuring. Asteroids exist without urgency to interact. They do not seek connection or avoidance. Encounters happen rarely and gently. Most of the time they travel alone without concern. This calm independence allows existence to feel self-contained and complete. Asteroids embody patience in its purest form. Their journeys span timescales so vast that speed becomes irrelevant. Nothing needs to happen soon. Everything unfolds when it unfolds. This patience radiates outward, encouraging the listener to slow down and rest within the present moment. Asteroids exist without awareness of change, yet change still passes through them quietly. Over immense spans of time, their orbits shift by tiny amounts, their rotation alters slightly, and their position in space drifts almost imperceptibly. These changes happen so slowly that they never feel disruptive. Instead, they feel like the soft adjustment of a resting body, subtle enough to remain peaceful. Asteroids do not experience brightness as intensity. When sunlight reaches them, it does not dazzle or overwhelm. It arrives calmly, touches the surface, and rests there for a while before moving on. The light feels distant and gentle, softened by the long journey through space. This quiet relationship with light adds to the sense that nothing near an asteroid demands attention. Asteroids remain composed even in regions where gravity overlaps gently from multiple sources. The combined influence of the Sun and nearby planets does not pull them sharply in competing directions. Instead, these forces blend smoothly, guiding motion with balance. This harmony between influences creates a calm trajectory where nothing feels conflicted or unstable. Asteroids exist without rhythm imposed by life. There are no cycles of waking or sleeping, no active or dormant phases. Everything flows continuously at the same unhurried pace. This constant state allows time to feel even and smooth, without peaks or pauses. The environment feels settled, as though nothing ever interrupts its calm. Asteroids do not experience boundaries between inside and outside. Their interiors are not hidden behind layers of activity or change. Everything exists in quiet unity. The surface and the core remain connected through stillness, giving the entire body a sense of wholeness that feels deeply restful. Asteroids move through space without anticipation. They do not expect encounters or outcomes. Their motion carries no sense of waiting. This absence of anticipation removes tension from their existence. Everything that happens simply happens, without build-up or concern. Asteroids are unaffected by distance in an emotional sense. Whether close to the Sun or far away, their behavior remains the same. Light may change, temperature may shift, but their calm presence does not waver. This consistency gives them a reassuring steadiness that feels comforting to imagine. Asteroids do not experience fragmentation as loss. When small pieces break away over time, they drift off quietly without conflict. Nothing is damaged or diminished. The remaining body continues calmly, unchanged in purpose. This gentle separation feels natural rather than disruptive. Asteroids exist without memory, yet they preserve history physically. Their surfaces remember events without reacting to them. This quiet remembrance creates depth without emotion, allowing the past to rest peacefully alongside the present. Asteroids show that calm can persist even across vast distances and endless motion. They drift through the solar system without strain, noise, or urgency, demonstrating that rest is not tied to location or stillness. It can exist within movement itself, steady and unbroken. Asteroids exist without resistance to their environment. Space does not push against them or demand adaptation. They move within it as though space itself were holding them gently. This lack of resistance allows motion to feel effortless and calm, like drifting on still water without waves. Nothing interrupts their path, and nothing asks them to change. Asteroids experience temperature without sensation. Warmth arrives and leaves without reaction. Cold settles without discomfort. These shifts occur gradually enough that they feel almost theoretical rather than physical. The stone does not respond emotionally or structurally, it simply remains. This quiet acceptance creates an atmosphere of deep neutrality where nothing feels extreme. Asteroids travel through regions where gravity is soft and evenly spread. There are no sudden pulls or sharp turns. The forces guiding them feel smooth and continuous, creating motion that flows rather than jerks. This gentle guidance allows the asteroid to remain relaxed even while moving, reinforcing the idea that direction does not need urgency. Asteroids exist without patterns imposed by biology. There are no cycles of growth or decay, no hunger, no restlessness. Their existence is steady and unchanging, free from internal demands. This absence of biological rhythm creates a sense of stillness that feels profoundly restful to imagine. Asteroids do not experience silence as absence. Instead, silence feels like a complete state. Nothing is missing. Nothing is expected. The quiet surrounding them is full and stable, allowing the mind to rest without searching for sound or movement. This silence feels safe and settled. Asteroids move without effort even over enormous distances. Their journeys span millions of kilometers, yet no energy is spent in the way we understand effort. Motion continues simply because it began long ago. This effortless travel makes movement itself feel peaceful rather than exhausting. Asteroids are unaffected by time passing nearby. 1,000,000 years can pass without altering their presence. They do not hurry to keep up with time. They do not fall behind. Time moves around them rather than through them. This relationship with time creates a sense of timeless calm. Asteroids exist without needing balance corrections. Their paths remain stable without constant adjustment. Once established, their motion continues smoothly. This natural stability gives them a feeling of quiet confidence, as though everything is already in the right place. Asteroids experience space as uniform. There are no preferred directions, no favored regions. Every direction feels equally calm and open. This uniformity removes the idea of pressure or escape, allowing existence to feel evenly distributed and relaxed. Asteroids demonstrate that rest does not require stopping. They continue moving endlessly while remaining calm and untroubled. Their motion never becomes noise. Their presence never becomes tension. In this way, asteroids quietly show that peace can exist within movement itself. Asteroids exist without urgency because nothing in their surroundings ever demands speed. There is no atmosphere pushing against them, no friction slowing them down, and no signal telling them to arrive anywhere quickly. Their motion continues at the same quiet pace it has followed for ages. This steady continuation creates a feeling of safety, where movement does not mean pressure and time does not feel limited. Asteroids do not experience contrast in emotional sensation. There is no difference between comfort and discomfort, no preference for light or dark. Each condition is simply accepted as part of existence. This emotional neutrality creates a deeply soothing mental image, where nothing is labelled as good or bad, only present. Asteroids move through space without needing orientation. There is no up or down, no forward or backward in the way we understand it. Motion happens without direction having meaning. This absence of orientation removes tension from movement, allowing it to feel free and weightless. Asteroids remain calm even when their paths slowly change over long periods. Gravitational influences adjust their orbits gently, never abruptly. These changes unfold over centuries or longer, allowing the asteroid to adapt without disruption. Change becomes a quiet companion rather than a disturbance. Asteroids exist without anticipation. They do not wait for encounters, collisions, or milestones. Each moment stands alone and complete. This lack of anticipation allows the present to feel sufficient, removing the mental pull toward what comes next. Asteroids are surrounded by darkness that feels consistent and reliable. Darkness does not signal danger or absence. It simply exists as part of the environment. This steady darkness feels protective rather than empty, like a quiet room where nothing unexpected happens. Asteroids do not experience fatigue from movement. Their motion does not wear them down or require recovery. They continue endlessly without effort or strain. This tireless calm makes motion itself feel restful rather than exhausting. Asteroids exist without complexity and structure or behavior. Their simplicity removes the need for maintenance or adjustment. Nothing breaks down, nothing needs repair. This simplicity creates a sense of completeness that feels deeply reassuring. Asteroids move through time without being shaped by it. While time changes everything around them, they remain largely unchanged. This gentle resistance to time creates a feeling of permanence, where the present moment can stretch and soften without urgency. Asteroids quietly demonstrate that calm can be continuous. Their existence shows that peace does not need to be reached, earned, or restored. It can simply remain steady and uninterrupted, moving gently through space forever. Asteroids exist without urgency because nothing around them accelerates time. There are no signals, no cycles, and no demands that mark moments as important or fleeting. Each second flows into the next with the same quiet weight, allowing existence to feel continuous rather than segmented. This uninterrupted flow removes the feeling of rushing, inviting the mind to loosen its grip on time and settle into calm. Asteroids do not experience instability even when their shapes are irregular. Though uneven and asymmetrical, they remain balanced within their motion. Gravity holds them gently, allowing each uneven surface and hollow space to coexist without strain. This quiet balance shows that harmony does not require symmetry, only patience and time. Asteroids move through space without needing correction. Once their path is set, it continues smoothly without constant adjustment. There is no steering, no effort to stay on course. The simplicity of this motion creates a sense of trust, as though everything already knows where it belongs. Asteroids exist without boundaries defined by environment. There is no ground beneath them and no sky above them. Space surrounds them equally in every direction. This absence of boundaries allows existence to feel open and unconfined, creating a sense of freedom that feels deeply restful rather than overwhelming. Asteroids do not experience isolation as loneliness. Their separation from other objects is natural and comfortable. Distance does not imply absence, it simply creates space. This spaciousness allows each asteroid to exist fully without comparison or dependence, reinforcing a calm sense of self-contained presence. Asteroids accept change without resistance. When external forces gradually alter their rotation or orbit, the change unfolds quietly over long periods. There is no struggle and no disruption. Adaptation happens naturally, creating a peaceful relationship between stability and motion. Asteroids experience darkness as a constant companion rather than an interruption. Darkness does not arrive suddenly or leave abruptly. It settles gently and remains until light returns just as softly. This steady presence creates an environment where nothing feels uncertain or surprising. Asteroids exist without need for renewal. They do not regenerate, heal, or refresh themselves. Their endurance comes from remaining unchanged rather than cycling through states. This permanence offers a deep sense of calm where nothing is lost and nothing must begin again. Asteroids move through space without creating wake or disturbance. Their passage leaves no trace and causes no ripple. Space remains exactly as it was before they had arrived. This non-intrusive existence creates a sense of harmony, where movement and stillness coexist peacefully. Asteroids demonstrate that calm does not fade with time. Their quiet presence has lasted for billions of years and shows no sign of ending. In their steady drift, they offer a vision of rest that is continuous and enduring, where peace does not need renewal, only allowance. Asteroids exist without urgency because nothing around them measures time in moments. There are no ticking clocks, no rising and setting cycles that demand attention. Time flows evenly and quietly, stretching wide without pressure. This gentle relationship with time allows existence to feel unbroken and safe, where nothing is about to end and nothing needs to begin. Asteroids remain calm even when passing through regions of stronger gravitational influence. Instead of being pulled sharply or disrupted suddenly, their paths curve gradually and smoothly. The adjustment happens so slowly that it feels like a soft redirection rather than a change. This gentle guidance allows motion to remain peaceful, even when forces increase. Asteroids do not experience surfaces as fragile. Impacts that occur are usually small and spread out across immense spans of time. Each interaction settles rather than shatters. Dust rearranges itself softly. Stone absorbs the moment and then returns to stillness. This quiet resilience gives asteroids a composed and grounded presence. Asteroids exist without a sense of arrival. They do not approach destinations or move toward goals. Their paths repeat endlessly without conclusion. This absence of arrival removes the tension of completion, allowing the journey itself to feel sufficient and complete. Motion becomes a state of rest rather than anticipation. Asteroids are surrounded by space that feels evenly distributed. There are no crowded regions or dense environments pressing inward. The openness around them remains constant, creating a feeling of spacious calm. This consistent openness allows the mind to relax into a sense of room and freedom. Asteroids experience light without interpretation. Brightness does not signal activity and darkness does not signal rest. Both exist neutrally, without meaning or response. This neutrality allows the environment to feel emotionally quiet, where nothing feels urgent or demanding. Asteroids do not accumulate tension over time. Their structures remain relaxed, their materials settled. Forces acting upon them balance gently rather than build. This lack of tension creates a sense of ease that feels deeply restful, as though nothing is waiting to release or break. Asteroids move without preference for speed. Their motion is neither fast nor slow in a meaningful way. It simply continues. This absence of speed preference removes comparison and judgment from movement, allowing it to feel natural and unforced. Asteroids exist without internal direction. They are not oriented toward any particular outcome. Their motion follows physical laws without intention. This absence of intention creates a calm neutrality where existence feels steady and uncomplicated. Asteroids quietly show that peace does not require stillness. They drift endlessly through space while remaining calm and composed. Their movement never becomes noise or strain. In this way, asteroids reveal that rest can exist within motion, gentle and continuous, without interruption. Asteroids exist without awareness of beginnings or endings. They do not recognize when they formed, and they do not anticipate when their journeys might change. Each moment of their motion is complete on its own, unconnected to any sense of before or after. This timeless presence creates a soothing feeling that nothing is being lost and nothing is approaching too quickly, allowing the mind to rest comfortably in the present. Asteroids move through space without reacting to distance. Whether they travel closer to the sun or drift farther away, their behavior remains calm and steady. Light may soften or grow brighter, but their inner stillness does not shift. This consistency across changing environments creates a sense of deep reliability, where external conditions never disturb inner balance. Asteroids experience gravity as a quiet companion rather than a controlling force. It does not pull sharply or demand attention. It simply guides gently, allowing motion to follow natural curves without resistance. This cooperative movement feels peaceful, like being carried rather than pushed, and it reinforces the idea that guidance does not need pressure. Asteroids do not feel interruption when influenced by nearby bodies. The presence of a planet does not startle them or disrupt their rhythm. Any adjustment happens slowly, almost invisibly, over long stretches of time. This gradual adaptation allows the asteroid to remain calm even while change unfolds, showing that flexibility can exist without stress. Asteroids exist without internal urgency to stabilize or correct themselves. Their structures settle naturally into balance and remain there without effort. Nothing shifts suddenly, nothing needs repair. This effortless stability creates a sense of quiet completeness, as though everything has already found its place. Asteroids travel through space without carrying energy that needs release. Their motion is smooth and continuous, not stored or explosive. Nothing builds up inside them waiting to break free. This absence of stored energy gives them a deeply restful presence where nothing feels tense or unresolved. Asteroids do not distinguish between movement and rest. For them, drifting is not activity and stillness is not pause. Both exist together as part of the same quiet state. This blending removes the need to switch between effort and relaxation, creating an image of constant ease. Asteroids exist without sensory overload. There are no sounds, no shifting colours, no sudden changes demanding attention. The environment remains simple and uncluttered. This minimalism allows awareness to soften naturally, encouraging the mind to slow down without instruction. Asteroids maintain calm even across immense spans of time. Millions of years pass without altering their presence in any meaningful way. This long endurance without strain creates a comforting sense of permanence, where calm does not fade or require renewal. Asteroids gently remind us that motion does not have to be purposeful to be peaceful. They move because movement exists, not because something must be achieved. Their quiet drift through space shows that being is enough, and that rest can exist without stopping, endlessly and without effort. As our quiet journey through the drifting world of asteroids comes to a close, allow the stillness to remain with you. These ancient travelers remind us that not everything in the universe needs to hurry or change to have meaning. They move patiently through space, carried by gentle forces, unchanged by attention, untouched by urgency. In their steady motion, they show us how calm can exist even within endless movement. Let your thoughts slow now, just as an asteroid continues its orbit without effort. There is nothing you need to hold on to, and nothing you need to think through. The day can fade softly into the background, leaving only a sense of quiet balance. Imagine the vastness of space opening around you, wide and unpressured, where darkness feels safe and light arrives gently. If sleep is near, allow it to come naturally. If rest is all you need, let your body settle deeper into stillness. The universe continues its calm rhythm whether you are awake or dreaming, and you're free to drift along with it. Thank you for spending this peaceful time with the sleepy scientist. If these gentle explorations help you unwind, you're always welcome to subscribe and return whenever you seek calm, curiosity, or rest. Until next time, may your thoughts be light, your breathing slow, and your sleep as steady and quiet as the ancient paths of the asteroids. Good night.